Taming the Inner Child. I titled it that because of a bit of a scary statistic. And I know I've mentioned it to a couple of people already, but 95% of everything that we do every day is completely subconscious. We don't realise we're doing it. Well, we do. We kind of observe ourselves doing it. And because we observe ourselves doing it, well, we actually think we took an active role in doing it. But actually, the balmy thing is we didn't. It was all just complete subconscious behaviour. And, I mean, probably one of the best ways that you can describe, this, has ever anybody driven to work and they've got there and you've thought, how did I get here? You can't remember the journey. Yeah? And it's because, your mind might have wandered off and doing other things, thinking, did I switch the iron off? What have I got to do? What have I got a meeting? And, God, I'm still hungry, or I need a pee, or all these kind of things. And what it is your mind can only process so much information. You are simply a biocomputer, yeah? And this computer can only process so much data at a time. So, if it's like a computer, if you've got too many programs open, what happens to the computer? Slows down. Simple as that. So it's like, is that strange phenomenon? Do you know when you're in a car and you're driving somewhere, right? You've been listening to your music and following your sat nav, but when you get to where you're going and you need to find the house number, I've got to turn the radio down or else I can't concentrate. Have you ever had that?
Yeah.
Yeah? And what it is you're reducing stimulus. Yeah? The old adage of multitasking is now a fallacy. It is proven that monotasking is the king. The reason is when you do a task, when you flip to another task, it's like you've got to open up another bit of software in your brain. And that software's got to open, you've got to calibrate, and then you've got to get into it. And then when you get into it, if you change again, you've got to put that bit of software down, open the other one back up, and recalibrate. So actually, the downtime in between is, it slows you down. Unfortunately, guys, this is one for the ladies in the room, multitasking is actually proven that women are better at it. And there's a very scientific reason. Your brain, I don't know if you know, is in two hemispheres, right? Literally, if I took your brain out of your head, I could literally just fold it apart like that. They're just not connected at all. The only place they're connected is a nerve bundle called the corpus callosum. And the corpus callosum in women is about 30% bigger than in men. So that's the nerve bundle that joins the two hemispheres, and having left and right brain integration helps with multitasking. So because you've got that extra data bus of information, it can, it is more effective. And I think mothers and parents and things like that, you bloody need to know. You're carrying the kid, you're doing this and all that kind of stuff. So it's probably a natural thing that, has evolved. Even though actually, an interesting fact in social, one thing that I've been really interested in is social conditioning. Because our environment basically programs us. And it's actually only in recent times in our evolution that actually the men have been the dominant species. Actually go back only about 500 years or so, women were actually the dominant decision makers, the heads of villages and politics and things like that. It's actually only quite recent. But anyway, I digress. So another scary part is 80% of all this programming, this little script that's going on in the background, which is basically telling us what to do, 80% of it was established before you were 12. So your 12-year-old self is making 80% of your decisions every day. Would you trust your 12-year-old to make decisions for you? And it seems a difficult thing to grasp, but it's our emotional content is the subconscious. And how we, process our environment is based on these little algorithms that run in the background. So, I was talking about one earlier about standing up and public speaking. Now, there's two types of memories. There's explicit memory. So explicit memory is when you have a physical memory recall. You know exactly why you feel the way you do, right? So with me, if I bang my knee, I remember when I fell off my bike when I was 16. I remember it very vividly. It's like an anchor. It's like a hyperlink on your desktop to a file. Yeah? That's the best way to look at your brain. It's a bit like your desktop, right? And if you've probably all had filing systems where you've got a file in a file in a file in a file and a file in a file and then the file that you want, right? So when you actually want to retrieve it, well, you're going to double click that, double click that, double click that, double click. Oh, it's boring this. I use it a lot, so I'll tell you what, I'll put a hyperlink to my desktop. So it saves me going through all those folders. Yeah? So that is what they call an emotional anchor, right? Which is a shortcut to the physical memory. So for me, if I smell grass, I remember school. It reminds me of when they mowed the fields at school. Yeah? So it brings back that memory. Now, an implicit memory is an emotional memory without that physical recall. So, for example, I had one of my clients, and she basically, her whole skin tingled when she had to talk in front of people. I mean, it was very debilitating for her. And she did network marketing. She was for Forever Living products. So actually talking to people and doing little presentations and having parties and all that kind of stuff is an integral part of her business. So it was very limiting. Now, she'd done all sorts of therapies and things like that for several years, but none of it could get away this, feeling that she had. And so when I did a bit of research and did a bit of testing and things like that, I found out it stemmed when she was 5 years old with a teacher. And she was like, oh God, I know exactly what that is. I had a teacher that I used to just share. I like to share, I like to vocalise, and if someone asks a question, I'll put my bit in. But this teacher was always, look, come on, instruct in the class, shut up, sit down, stop messing about, and was really kind of derogatory to her about it. So she'd been conditioned to believe the language that was going on in her head, this implicit memory, is don't stand up and talk in front of people because nobody's interested in what you've got to say. Now, if you've got a deep down belief that nobody's interested in anything you've got to say, well, that's going to cause a conflict, isn't it? When you actually go and to tell people something. Yeah? And that is basically what they call an emotional trigger, a subconscious belief, subconscious sabotage. We hear all these phrases, but often we don't understand exactly what they are. And that is a prime example, right? It is your emotional memory, it's your parasympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight system, right? It's a very hunter-gatherer kind of Neanderthal process which has kept us alive. And that is singly what the actual process is for. It is your survival. It's not thriving, it's surviving. So when we're in a situation, one of the biggest things with fight or flight is freeze and do nothing. If you freeze and do nothing, the chances are you will survive. Your kind of chance of surviving increases rapidly, right? In the wild, you probably know that bears, if you see a bear in the woods, you can't outrun it, you can't outclimb it. So the best thing to do is just look passive, yeah? And animals tend to not want to be aggressive most of the time because there's no animal hospital in the wild. If they get injured and they can't hunt, they die. Simple as that. So quite often you might see wildlife programs and the lion is walking across and all the other animals, they don't care. Because the lion's got its tail up, which is signalling that it's full, it's hungry, it's had enough, it's all right, it's not hunting. Yeah? And lions don't run for fun, do they? Yeah? Because if they expend a lot of energy and they don't have enough energy left to hunt, well, they don't live. So they use it very frugally. And our evolution as humans has done the same. One of our strongest and most powerful things of our species is our intellect. Everything in this room was just an idea, a concept in someone's mind at some point in time. And through a process, it was actualized and realized. And, cups, tables, clothes, everything was just a figment of someone's imagination. And that's the power of humans. The animals are creative as well, but no way in the same capacity. And this tool that actually creates all this is a vast drain on our resources. In fact, 20% of your entire blood flow for your whole body goes to your brain. That's more than each leg. Look how big and powerful your legs are. On an average day, your brain can take between about 25% of the micronutrients and 25% of the oxygen for the whole day as well, right? And because it's a vast drain on our resources, what we've learned is, well, if we can get away from the decision-making process, because one thing that recent science has proven, that every decision that you make in a day fatigues you, yeah? It stresses you. So the less decisions you make, or the more important you use those decisions. And this is why Steve Jobs and Einstein wore the same clothes every day. They had the same clothes for every day of the week. Yeah, different change. Because what they wanted to do is eliminate pointless decisions. Yeah?
Pointless?
Yeah. Not for you, it'll be your clothes.
That's an outrage.
I mean, Einstein and Tesla also took it a little bit further. They actually cut out sex from their lives completely because of their sexual energy. That was, courting and things like that. It's all decisions. It's all putting your energy somewhere. And to actually fine-tune their thinking processes, they eliminated that.
Boring file.
Life's not worth living.
You notice they're all blokes. They're not multitaskers.
Maybe not the best looking ones either, I don't know. Not my opinion.
Who's getting it tonight? Remove that decision.
So, because it's a vast drain, what we've done is we've thought, right, if we can automate most of the stuff in our lives, we're not making decisions. So a classic example, very simple one, is just, right, put your hands up. Just put them together. Right, which thumb's on top? Left and right. Is that okay? So, interesting study on this. They said the people with their left thumbs on the top are the most sexy people in the audience.
Is yours, by any chance, left on top?
Oh, it is actually, yeah. Must be subconscious. And people with the right are the most intelligent. Have you got them side by side? Anybody got them side by side? No? Oh well, that's good. They think they're intelligent and sexy. It's all made up. So, just put your hands apart. Yeah. Jazz hands. Woo. Put them back together. Which thumb's on top? Same again. Every time you do that, you're not going to think, right, which way shall I put it? Yeah? You don't consciously make a decision of how you're going to do it. You just do it. And it's a default setting. Now, is there any difference between your right thumb on top and left thumb on top? In reality, no. There is no difference at all. But if you put your hands back together, right, now what I want you to do is I want you to move all your fingers one notch up, so actually your right thumb's on top and all the other fingers are correctly corresponding. Have you done it? Mm-hmm. Yeah? I mean, some of it's like, you've got to think about it, haven't you? You've got to look at your hands and go, right, I'm going to do this. Now, how does that feel? Weird, doesn't it? It's awkward.
Definitely.
Yeah? It's like, if you go back, you're like, oh, that's better. Do you know what I mean? It's better. Yeah. So that's, in essence, a very, very brief description of your comfort zone. Yeah? Your comfort zone is things that are just normal to you, regular to you, right? The challenge is sometimes your comfort zone, there's things in it that are uncomfortable. But we don't do much about them because we're actually scared of what's outside the comfort zone. Being uncomfortable, feeling awkward. Yeah? Now, the trick in life is quite often to do something for long enough, because if you hold your hands in that opposite position for several minutes, after a while it becomes to feel normal again. Yeah? You condition yourself to accept it. So in life, it is all about pushing those boundaries, kind of exploring what your triggers are, and you might have heard the book Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, yeah? Which is great to a certain level. But if you've got some severe triggers in there, it doesn't work. It just makes it sometimes worse, yeah? So in essence, what you've got to do is, tackle something for long enough to make it comfortable. Once you make it comfortable, you expand your comfort zone. So everything that happens to you as a child and throughout your whole life is a conditioning process, right? One classic, sort of like description of this conditioning process is how they train elephants in circuses. And it's a very simple process. They get a baby elephant, you put a big metal stake in the ground, get a nice sturdy rope, tie it around the elephant's leg, right? And the elephant will like, yeah, I'm going to wander over here. Oh, right, I can't make it. And then it will pull on against this rope and it will tug and it will do all sorts. But it's so secure it can't pull it out. It's not strong enough. Yeah? Now, after a while, it gets fed up. It thinks, well, it's futile. Pulling on this, I can't escape. It won't happen. So it accepts it. It gets to the point where it just accepts the fact that no matter how hard I pull on that rope, it is not going to let me go anywhere else. Now, as an adult elephant, you can just put a little wooden stake in the ground, put a little washing line round its foot, and it will stay there. I mean, it could pull a car out of the ground if it wanted to, it's that strong. But because life has told it, making the effort doesn't work, it no longer wants to make the effort. So how many times do we do that in life? How many times do we explore that comfort zone, get to the edge of it, kind of feel really uncomfortable, I don't like this, I'm going back in here. Yeah, I've tried that, I'm not going to do it again. I mean, would anybody be an Olympic champion? Or, the best, business person on the planet, multimillionaires and, successful people in any field, if they give up on things that took struggle? Well, the answer is quite simple, it's no. You've got to have consistency, persistency, and continuous work. And, I mean, it's fascinated me for so long, what is it that holds people back? And a lot of people think it's actually the fear of failure. That's probably one of the most, who thinks that the fear of failure is probably one of the most common? Yeah? Yeah. Well, actually, from on my work and working with the people that have obviously taught me, actually one of the biggest fears is success itself. Which sounds so kind of disconnected. Because everybody's like, oh no, God, I'd love to be successful, right? I'd love to have the Aston Martin or the nice Mercedes, or even if it's just a normal nice car, you know what I mean? Everybody's aspirations are different. I think this is one contentious issue I have with the self-development industry and all these big gurus you see. Everybody wants a yacht and to be a millionaire and, this. Not everybody wants that. People just want different levels of lifestyle. Some people are happy earning 30, 40 grand a year, nice little house, nice little car, but spending time with the family, because sometimes getting that big business can take up a lot of your life. And sometimes one of the biggest regrets I see with people is that they've spent so much time earning money, they missed all their life with their family. So, it's establishing what you want out of life. But when it's like the fear of success, it's like, a lot of people don't equate that, right? And go on, well, if we've got a little volunteer, as soon as Barry said we were going to have a volunteer. He's already pre-volunteered somebody.
Glamorous assistant. Come on, Lisa.
Throw you in
So go on, Lisa. Thank you.
You'll learn a lot.
I will. I'll be very gentle.
Teacher with everything.
So a quick round of applause for Lisa. Let's give her a boost. Thank you. So what we're going to look at is it's a phenomena which we played around with earlier.
Yeah.
And it works on your parasympathetic nervous system. So your nervous system is what they use, that's what they leverage in a lie detector, right? So we're going to find what's a lie for Lisa. And so with the lie detectors, they measure a physiological response in the body. It is the fight or flight response. So fight or flight, you're getting ready to run or fight for your life. Yeah? So what do we need if we're going to fight or run? We need energy. Yeah? So that thing that facilitates that is adrenaline. We've got the adrenal gland. Yeah? And it dumps adrenaline in the body, and that's like nitrous. Right? And what it does is it actually tells your muscle cells to take on more glucose. Right? So it's got more usable energy at the time. One other thing it does, well, it dumps cortisol in your body, the stress hormone. Now, you've just had a breakfast. Now, anybody that's eaten a lot of meat, protein's really difficult to digest. Anybody's had a big Sunday lunch, and afterwards, everybody's knackered, aren't they? They're all falling asleep, right? The reason is, to digest a heavy meal, it's the equivalent of a brisk walk. So if you went out for a brisk walk, you're burning the same amount of calories as it's taking to digest that big heavy meal. Unfortunately, you've just ate more calories than actually you would burn off in the brisk walk, so it really doesn't work. Don't think, right, I've had a heavy meal, that's my exercise for the day. Let me just clear that up.
Dangerous information.
It is dangerous information, yes.
Contradicts a bit.
It does, yeah. But that's why you're lethargic, because it's taking all that energy. So what cortisol does, part of its functions and a few of the chemicals, is it shuts down your internal organs. What is the point in digesting your food if you're going to become food yourself? Yeah? So it shuts down your internal organs. So you're not processing your waste properly, not processing your food properly. Yeah? So toxins build up in your body. You don't get the nutrients that your body needs. So that's why stress causes ill health, because it shuts down so many functions in your body. So what stresses you is important. Now, there's a lot of people, and I was one of them at one point. Several years ago, you would ask me, do I suffer from stress? And I was like, no, I don't suffer from stress. Why? I'm a bit of a fiery personality. I'm a bull in a china shop, and I'm kind of aggressive. So I'm like, no, I'm all right. You know what I mean? I'm a man. You know what I mean? Bit of macho-ness there. And it was only after I'd cleared some of this stress, which I realised, actually, in hindsight, how bloody stressed I was. It was crazy. And this technique, which they call psychokinesiology. So kinesiology is all about movement, psycho obviously about the mind. So what we're looking is how your thoughts physically affects your body. Yeah? So so a very simple one, if you like to stand, and face the audience and have a smile. So if you put your left arm out, we use the non-dominant arm for testing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to push down on your arm, and I just want you to stop me. Okay, so nice and stiff. Okay, one more time, nice and stiff. Okay. So a very simple test as a lie detector is to say your name. Say, my name is Lisa.
My name is Lisa.
Tell me again.
My name is Lisa.
And resist. So nice and strong, still the same strength. Yeah? Okay. So pick a boy's name.
Pick yours then, Adrian.
Say, my name is Adrian.
My name is Adrian.
I'll say it one more time.
My name is Adrian.
And resist. It's just so much weaker, isn't it? It's crazy.
Yeah.
So say, I'm a woman.
I'm a woman.
And resist. That was very strong. Oh, nearly cracked her arm there. It's like, I'm definitely a woman.
Gender issues there.
Yeah, that'll be good one day when I go, I'm a woman.
Lisa's never going to come back if she sings it.
So we'll do the opposite. Say, I'm a man.
I'm a man.
Say it again.
I'm a man. I'm getting bored.
I just want you to say it. It's funny. Go on, once for the camera.
I'm a man.
And resist. So, as you can see, it works like a lie detector. The bit that this is measuring is what they call cognitive dissonance. So cognitive dissonance is a conflict in the brain. So basically your motor cortex, which is dealing with the function of your arm, your conscious mind, the rational part of your mind which is dealing with language, what happens is your rational brain's going, hang on a minute, this is wrong. So your motor cortex is like, well, what do you want me to do? By the time it's just delayed the signal, and you go weak. So images that we hold affect our body. If we say a lie, it causes actual physical stress. Yeah? So if we come back here, right? So nice and strong. So let me just do a test, nice and strong. Okay, so we've got a baseline. Say, I am a millionaire.
I'm a millionaire.
Say it again.
I'm a millionaire.
So our relationship with money can be physically tested. Yeah? I mean, what I do with people often is I will actually can go and say I completely love and accept myself now that I'm happy to earn up to 10, up to 20, up to 30, up to 40. At the moment it becomes, just relax a second, sorry, just there with the arm. At the moment it becomes a lie to you, you physically go weak. So if you're wanting to earn 80 grand a year or 100 grand a year or whatever that figure is, or you want to achieve a certain goal, whether it's run a marathon or, do anything, build so many people in your downline. If you muscle test it and you go weak at the thought of it, you have an emotional resistance to it. It's as simple as that. And this is a test you can do at home. Yeah? You don't need me to do it. Do the test first to make sure you're calibrating right. I mean, there's one test that you can do. So, has anybody heard of the meridian system? No? So the meridian system, you all know about your nervous system. We've got nerves that run through all our body, okay? Well, the meridian system, Chinese medicine has used this for thousands of years, right? And they've talked about this meridian system. Acupuncture uses the meridian system, yeah? So there's certain points on your body which have a physical effect on the body, right? So do you mind if I just touch your clavicles there, right? So if we come here, so just across here. So this is a great one for if you're feeling a bit stressed. That's why I asked permission. So when you're feeling a bit stressed, if you bridge your two clavicle bones, and just resist. Feel how strong that is. Yeah. Can I touch on the forehead there? Yeah, and resist.
Oh, why?
So we come back here, resist. Really strong. Come up here, resist. Really weak. It's crazy, isn't it? So we won't go much time left. So round of applause for Lisa. Thank you. And what that does is actually, have you never noticed when people are stressed what they do? Oh God, I'm stressed. It's confirmation bias. We're positively reinforcing how stressed we are by touching us somewhere which actually stresses us.
So we're all fiddling around here.
That's it. So actually, if you're feeling stressed and feeling slightly anxious, bridging your clavicles and taking some deep breaths actually functionally changes the chemicals in your body. Your feelings are chemicals. So cortisol is the stress hormone, and adrenaline and things like that. So when you've got a large amount of those chemicals in your body, quite simply, you're in stress mode. You've shut down your internal organs and everything like that. So basically, bridging your clavicles, taking some deep breaths, reduces the cortisol level. And and if you do a power pose like this, there's a TED talk by Amy Cuddy, right? If you want to put Amy Cuddy and power pose, right? C-U-D-D-Y.
It's Caddy, isn't it?
Hmm?
Amy Caddy.
No, that's
Another
someone
one.
from Train Trainer.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, what was it called?
Amy Cuddy put power poses.
Power poses.
Yeah, and there's a TED talk about it. It tells you about literally how body posture changes the chemicals in your body. Yeah? So basically, if you stand like this, right, which is called the Superman pose or the Wonder Woman, right, for about 2 to 3 minutes, or it's called
when you're on your own.
preferably when you're on your own, yeah. That's the bulldog.
Or in the middle of yoga classes.
So aggressive poses
Yeah.
actually physically changes the chemical genetic makeup in your body. You reduce your cortisol levels and you increase your testosterone levels. Testosterone is all about confidence. So if you're ever going to do a talk or you need a bit of confidence to go in a meeting, get into the toilet, stand in the toilet cubicle, you know, and stick your chest out and everything like that, right? And actually say some aggressive kind of confident, postures in your brain, affirmations and things like that. And it will physically change the chemicals. But that's a very reactionary thing, because what you're doing is you're basically using, it's like pharmaceuticals, right? Pharmaceuticals, they're great at masking the symptoms, they make you feel better, but often they don't cure the main problem. Yeah? They're there to kind of maintain you rather than fix you. So that's a bit like that, and a bit like self-development. Self-development is great. We all need to learn new skills and everything like that, but ultimately what you need is something much deeper. You need to attack, and there's various methods we can do this, but you need to find out what your belief systems are. Find out if they're in line with what it is that you're wanting to achieve. If there is a conflict between them, that will explain why you're not moving forward as fast as you can. Because your beliefs are contradicting your desires. And when your beliefs contradict your desires, the best way to look at it is your belief system's a bit like your Google search engine. Now your brain, we're talking about, it can only process so much information. We actually measured it, it's about 40 bits per second, right? Your subconscious is 40 million bits per second. So it's 1 million times more powerful. So actually, the question you're asking yourself and you're confusing yourself about to the answer, your subconscious already knows. The difficult bit is extracting the answer and getting it past what they call the monkey mind. There's a one called the chimp paradox, a TED talk as well, which is another fascinating one. And it talks about the amygdala, the animalistic part of our brain. And that's all about survival and fight or flight. So most often we just want to do nothing and survive. We call that in business procrastination. Yeah? You know, we should be doing this, we know we should be doing this, but actually this is more shiny over here and I'm going to go over here. Yeah? And what that can be is if you've got a financial ceiling, which is where you are, so in other words, you've plateaued, you've got to somewhere, that's your comfort zone, your body and physical self and your belief systems are happy being there, consciously you want to be here, but you've always stuck there. And what it will be is your search engine, which is searching your environment, the key words that it's asking for isn't actually what you want, it's what you believe. That's the default setting. So if you put in Google, I don't want stress, you get 333 million pages on stress. It doesn't say the I don't want. Yeah? If it were to rationalise it, it would say, right, well, let's give him suffer Alton Towers, or let's give him suffer a nice spa weekend break, or things like that. Yeah? But when you, in your mind, you think, I want this, but your subconscious is, well, if I get that, I'm going to be stressed, because my belief is I don't deserve it, right? Or my mother or my father told me I was useless and a waste of space and I'll never amount to alt. And that continuous conditioning made me subconsciously believe that's true, even though it's not what I want. What you believe is always the search engine. And because we take on so much data, about 65 million bits of data per second through your eyes alone. Yeah? So your brain can only process 40. So if you've got all that information coming in, how are you going to decipher it all? And that's all for your Google search, which they call the reticular activating system. So modifying your emotions, being at one with them, finding out, and then using techniques to delete them is the most powerful thing at taming the inner child. So thank you very much.